Hello and welcome to On Stage. I'm Donna Karger. Coming up on today's show,
I've danced with dukes.
Heather Headley is back on Broadway playing Shug Avery in The Color Purple. We'll chat with this Tony-winning performer about her long-awaited return to the New York stage. Plus, actor Robert Creighton's long journey playing this tough-talking, tap-dancing showbiz legend lands him off-Broadway at the West Side Theater. We'll talk with Creighton about the musical Cagney. And it's almost time for Nymph 2016. Okay, it is time for a short break. Up next, actor Robert Creighton stops by to talk about the musical Cagney. Welcome back. Actor Robert Creighton's Broadway credits include roles in The Mystery of Edwin Drood, Anything Goes, The Little Mermaid, and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, to name just a few. Now Creighton is starring off-Broadway in a musical he co-created, and he's taking on the role of a show business legend, James Cagney. And Robert joins me now in studio to talk about his show, which is titled Cagney. But before we get to our chat, let's take a look at some moments from Cagney. Robert Creighton, welcome to On Stage.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you in. Congratulations on Cagney.
It's an exciting time right now. It really
absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's been a long journey with this, too.
Long journey. I'm in the full-on dream come true category right now. Literally, like it was a dream in my head, and now people are buying tickets. Well, it's insane to me.
Speaking of how the dream came about, now the show had its world premiere in Florida in 2009, but the idea for the show actually came about when you were in acting school, and an acting teacher told you that you reminded him of James Cagney.
Yeah.
And now, let's show a little bit of a split screen shot. You can see over there, there's you. And Mr. Cagney himself. You can see the
Okay, I get it a little bit there. Yeah.
How much did you know about James Cagney when when your acting teacher first said that to you?
Not a lot. I mean, I knew of Yankee Doodle Dandy. I grew up in Canada and knew old films and whatnot, but it wasn't the same sort of patriotic, like Yankee Doodle Dandy was on TV every July 4th or something. I knew that movie, but I very quickly started watching his films and going to Blockbuster and renting the VHS tapes and getting my hands on everything I could, and very quickly became mesmerized with him on screen. And to be honest, felt a connection to him in some way after this teacher had sort of put the bug in my ear that you sort of look like him and you move like him a little bit, and I know you love to tap dance, he said, and you should watch his films. I sort of became obsessed with watching him on screen and how he moved and how he carried himself and how ahead of his time he was as an actor, I think. So truthful, no matter how stylized the film was. You believed every word that came out of his mouth.
Now then, another step on the journey, you were cast in a play about Cagney that kind of had some workshops, but it didn't come to fruition.
It was being done by the executive of his estate, and it really was, a play would be overstating it. It was really literally plagiarized from a bunch of different biographies, and they were just trying to find someone to imitate Cagney and tell these stories. Then I did this, then I did that. And we did workshop a little bit. I got cast in it after an arduous audition process, and even going up to Stanfordville, where Cagney lived, and auditioning for his friends, his old neighbors and stuff. But that fizzled out quickly, but it lit the fire in me to say, you know what, part of what I'm here to do is tell this story about James Cagney.
So why did you think a musical was the best way to tell his story?
I think it's important in paying tribute. I'm a fan of his, first of all, right? And then became the guy who wanted to tell this story. He wanted to be known as a song and dance man, even though he became an icon as sort of the quintessential film gangster and tough guy. In his head, he always was a vaudevillian and a song and dance man. And it just became the right way to tell the story organically. It couldn't just be a play. It started out as a play with period music, And then those songs didn't really fully tell the story that we wanted to tell, so I started writing music and lyrics myself, and Peter Cawley and I created the first version. It was 4 people, and with my music and lyrics and a few period songs, and that was the way we wanted to tell the story. And then we got introduced through Florida Stage to Bill Castellino, our director, and Christopher McGovern, a wonderful composer who I already knew in New York. And Christopher took over the score and created the majority of the score, and my songs that were sort of worthy stayed, and then he created the rest, which I'm so grateful for. And Bill Castellino sort of shaped the whole thing, and we grew into a real musical.
Right, and you have this amazing choreography by Josh Vergas, and you yourself won a Fred Astaire Award
How about that?
this spring for your dance.
Yeah, that was very unexpected, very exciting, and I'm in you saw the show, there's major league tap dancing happening, and I am the low guy on that totem pole. I mean, we are so lucky to have the people we have in the cast. They're all major actors, singers, and tap dancers, and Josh Vergas was the jackpot for us. You know, he's just so talented. He's so busy these days. He's got a million Broadway shows spinning, but he has stuck with us right from the beginning, and very grateful for that.
I'm wondering about what James Cagney means to you as a person, and any interesting stories you might have learned along the way. In fact, one I'd like you to share that I'd read. You heard from a World War II vet at a Q&A you were doing after a performance in Florida.
It's funny, I would have told you that. That would have been the first story I told you anyway. I didn't need a cue for that one, because when you say, first of all, doing the show now in New York and the way it's been publicized and people have heard about it, there are Cagney family members and fans and people who had interactions with him coming out of the woodwork and telling me stories about his life, and it's so beautiful because he really was not only this film legend, but he was a great humanitarian and just a down-to-earth, solid guy. Didn't like bullies, which has become the theme of our show, but is now supported by all these stories I'm hearing. We were in our first version in Florida. We did a Q&A, and this older gentleman stood up. He said, "I want to tell you a story." During World War II, Cagney came to our barracks to do a USO show. The show got rained out, and he spent the entire night going to every soldier in every barracks, shaking their hand and thanking them for their service. And we were all crying, and he's crying, and it's like, you know, but for me, I feel like I hitched my wagon to the right horse, you know, like he was that kind of guy. Beyond being this tough guy on screen and also a song and dance guy, he was a really great human being.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
and an
absolutely.
artist.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but for now, folks can catch you at the West Side Theater in Cagney, and as you mentioned, now playing Thursday
matinees. We're going to be one of only 2 shows in New York with Thursday matinees, and our matinees have been selling out, so now people have an opportunity to see our show in the
so
afternoon.
If you're looking for something on Thursday afternoon,
yeah.
you can see that as well. Okay, well,
thank you for having
so much.
me. This is wonderful. You know, I've watched this show for years, so it's fun to be here.
Glad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert Creighton. Okay, it is time for a short break. Up next, we'll bring you a preview of some of the new work on tap at this year's New York Musical Festival, and it's Broadway meets Glee meets Smash in Forest Hills. We'll explain coming up.